Hello everyone and very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us. My name is Amita and I am your host for today's webcast. Today we are going to take a brief look at business-driven testing. We would start by talking about business objectives and the challenges it brings in software testing. We will then discuss how to bring business perspective to software testing. This would in turn help analyze strategizing the testing approach based on business parameters. Additionally, we will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation to address any doubts. Now, if you have any questions, please share it on chat and we will answer them at the end of the presentation, or we will reply them shortly afterwards via email. There will be a poll session during the webinar. You would be given few options to answer. We would be glad if you bring your voice into the presentation. Now, before we go ahead, I would like to give a small introduction about our company. Rave Technologies is a part of Northgate Information Solutions based in United Kingdom. Its headquarters is situated in Mumbai. Our main focus is to provide end-to-end product and application engineering services. We provide services on requirement analysis, software architecture, design, development, testing, and maintenance. We also specialize in services such as mobile development, cloud and SaaS migration, usability engineering, and independent testing. We are committed towards customer value proposition and innovation, reduce time to market, and cost reduction. Well, that was a small introduction about our company. Now, without any further delay, I would like to introduce my colleague, an exceptional test manager, and today's presenter, Mr. Umesh Vidwans. Thank you everyone for your attention. I hope you enjoy this webinar on business-driven testing. Umesh, over to you.
Thanks, Amita. Hello, everyone. I thank everybody for joining this webinar. Before I chip in the details quickly about how we do testing, thought this would be helpful. At Rave, we perform testing across different domains, example publishing, healthcare, retail, public services, accounting, etc. A structured testing process is backbone of all testing activities and tasks that we do. We conduct functional and non-functional testing like performance, accessibility, cross-browser using appropriate techniques. Our innovation team helps us to keep up with the emerging technologies and domain-specific changes. All this is possible through a business-oriented test strategy, which is the outcome of testing need and our understanding of what business needs from testing. We ensure that the test lead working on projects acts as SME or BA, and we do include domain specialists like financial consultants, for example CPA, CA, MBA with our team to make this effective. Before going ahead, I hope that I'm audible. Just a quick check. Okay. Please let me know if you feel that I'm going too fast or too slow during the course of this session. While working on various projects over the years, we have developed an approach to derive testing based on business goals. Every domain brings in the specific set of challenges, and in response to these challenges, technology offers different solutions. When we are testing a system, the system should be seen as the response of business challenges and the complexities that the technology brings in. Hence, the test strategy needs to consider both the business and the technology. Let us see this further with retail domain as an example. We look at the growth of retail industry over 3 phases. Up to 1950 is the first phase where the industry emerged from early days of general stores. Rail, road, refrigeration indeed changed the shoppers. Shoppers started to travel across to choose from greater assortment of merchandise. These offered consolidated location and good pricing to customers. TV advertising was already kick-started, and it was the time when consumerism and brand awareness was kick-started. World also saw first shopping center and shopping malls being opened during this phase. 1951 onwards, new financial products were introduced like credit card, cash machines, and it added more shopping convenience. IBM also released its first computer and the first microchip was introduced in this phase. Overall, we saw a rapid technological advancements, networking, hardware, internet, emails, and ultimately the World Wide Web. With such enhancements in technology and financial products, retail industry saw new trends rising, like low cost, high turnover concept and category killers. Post 2000, we see that everything that is feasible over internet is being offered to the customers. Mobility, social media are playing important role in consumer behavior. Thus, we see a good mix of legacy systems with new systems that are providing solutions to the recent challenges. So, for testing the application, is it necessary to understand the journey of the domain? Well, the journey helps us to analyze the domain-specific challenges. In case of retail domain, when we talk about the domain challenges, there are four key categories: strategic, operational, financial, and the quality. The first one is to meet the strategic demands of the business, which includes satisfying customer needs by using new technologies. While we work with new technologies, our existing operational efficiency should not be affected. Operational and strategic goals should be met with the anticipated budget and time to market. And all of this needs to be achieved with the desired quality and compliance requirements. Let us take an example. As a retailer, I would be interested in the system that analyzes how shoppers flow through our stores, their visit duration, and then to get some shopping patterns out of this analysis. One way of getting such information is by tracking the smartphone pings and using third-party utilities that provide such details. Apart from the cost-benefit analysis of such solution, we need to ensure that the application is available, the reports are meaningful, and the compliance guidelines on retaining privacy are maintained. Let us see different solutions that technology has provided. This is not the exhaustive list, but a summary to get the overall feel. Point of sales in various retail industries uses customized hardware and software. The modern system with advanced features such as inventory management, CRM, financials, warehouse is referred to as point of service. Solutions in merchandise planning are aimed at maximizing return on investment. This involves planning sales and inventory, minimizing losses from markdowns and stockouts. This enables us to do effective planning during the specific season and also during business as usual. Different third-party solutions, some even SaaS-based, are present in this area. Analytics is helpful in getting more insights into customers. Consumers have power to share their experience through social media, apps, and other solutions available at their fingertips, and their feedback can affect our business. Based on the data received from analytics, we can plan more personalized communication with our customers. We saw earlier how retail has grown from 1950. With the technology advancements, customers were offered different channels in addition to physical store like portal, app, telecalling, etc. Omni-channel experience ensures that when customer is using any of the available channels, the same experience is offered to the customer irrespective of the channel selected. The multiplication of retail channels and the increasing use of social media are empowering our consumers. Consumers are now better able to compare products, services, and prices even as they shop in physical stores. These behavioral changes are creating different opportunities for retailers. But to capitalize on those opportunities, retailers need ways to collect, manage, and analyze tremendous data. Applications are getting complex and retailers are identifying new ways to minimize investment in IT infrastructure. Cloud and big data technologies are enabling retailers to deal with these challenges. We just saw the domain challenges and the technology-based solutions in retail. Collectively, they bring in different characteristics that need to be verified during software testing activity. These are aging applications, non-functional requirements, end-to-end solutions, and complexity. New applications coexist with legacy applications, and these do have some integration points. Validating integration across such systems is critical for end-to-end business process. We saw an example about getting a shopper experience by analyzing smartphone ping. Such solutions should be available throughout. Public-facing pages of our portal may have specific branding, internationalization, and accessibility requirements, and we need to consider all such inputs while testing the system. Testing the solution end-to-end is critical. Configuration from one module needs to be verified across other modules and even other channels. With such a mix of technology, regulatory compliance, various browsers and platforms, it is becoming more and more complex to test the system for appropriate coverage in available time. How do we address these characteristics in the testing that we perform? Are the set of test cases traceable to requirements enough? Is identifying automation regression suite or building performance scenarios sufficient? Probably not, as this may not bring in the business essence to overall testing approach. The implicit business requirements should also be answered through the test strategy. We need to translate the business goals and the business priorities throughout the testing life cycle to bring the business essence. Business challenges, goals, etc. are inputs for the test strategy. Test strategy provides details like what type of testing needs to be included in the project, example functional, regression, non-functional, what coverage is expected across different testing levels from unit testing to UAT, and to achieve this coverage, which testing techniques will be used, also to execute the testing, whether we should use a tool or it should be done manually. So test strategy provides answers to factors like test coverage, focus, techniques, environment, tools, data, etc. But these answers should be provided considering business importance and business priority. While building the strategy, we should ask the following questions. Which requirement needs exhaustive testing and which does not? How much coverage and what priority should be provided to respective requirements across different testing levels? What test data and test environment considerations are essential for testing different functional and non-functional requirements? How should I create the user profile for particular performance test flow? Does it involve enough consideration for global time zones, localization and internationalization? To summarize, testing approach should be defined for each testing level such that the business requirements are tested considering its importance and risk. So far we saw why it is necessary to bring the business essence in testing and how test strategy can lead us to achieve this. Now it is time for poll to understand what is your opinion about how the test strategy can be implemented on projects. And for this, I will hand it over to Amita.
Thanks, Umesh. Let's do a poll now. I would be asking a very simple questions. Please share your answers. Here is your question. Have you been practicing business-driven testing in your organization? I'll repeat the question. Have you been practicing business-driven testing in your organizations? And your options are yes, no, and planning to start. Please share your answers. I'll give a moment to vote. I think everyone has given the vote now. All right, here are your answers. So almost 70% of today's attendee, they say that they have been practicing business-driven testing in their organization. It's very encouraging to see that. Well, thanks for your answer. We have one more question, and the question is, which of the following play a key role while implementing the business-driven testing on projects? I'll repeat the question. Which of the following play a key role while implementing the business-driven testing on projects? And your options are, the first one we have is type of tests and tools. Second option is test strategy, test scenarios, test cases and traceability. Third one we have is test environment and test data. Next one we have is test planning, defect management, entry and exit criteria. And the last one is metrics and reporting. Please click on your answer. I think everyone has given the vote now. All right. 50% of today's attendee, they say that the answer is test strategy, test scenarios, test cases, and traceability. Umesh, what's your opinion on this?
Hey, before I share my opinion, many thanks everyone for your participation and for your answers that you have provided during the poll. All of the options have their own importance while we do the testing. However, in my view, test scenarios, strategy, cases allow us to incorporate the business essence in the appropriate way. In fact, this is what we will talk about during the next session of our webinar. In the testing process, scenarios have great importance. We need to identify appropriate inputs at the scenario level itself to make it more effective. For example, non-functional impact, business risk, business priority, test data dependency, and possible testing techniques to be used. As an example, on our screen we see one sample scenario and we see that cross-browser risk, type of user, the possible testing techniques, test data dependency, all are tracked against the scenario which is mapped to the requirement. In this case, the requirement is of type use case. We may have different requirements coming from functional specs as well. So scenarios are first aspect of functional testing, which provide us a kind of operational strategy which will be incorporated as we go further with the test design and even with the test execution. The second aspect is maintaining traceability. Traceability can be maintained in a tool or even in a spreadsheet, and traceability is helpful to identify the impact area. If we want to identify impact area or regression area as an input, the traceability maintained till the defect level is very useful. We see one traceability matrix as an example displayed on our screen, and we see that here the traceability is maintained right from the requirements. Again, the type of requirement is use case to scenarios, then from scenarios to test case, and from test cases to defect. Also in the test case column, we see that the test cases that have failed are marked in red color. Test cases detail the information which is identified or captured in scenarios. These enable us to implement the testing techniques based on the priority and risk. We recommend maintaining a separate data table where the test case is verified against each data elements. And by maintaining such type of data table, it makes it easy for us to automate these test cases by using data-driven testing. So what we have seen so far is there are three aspects, key aspects to our functional testing. One is identifying the operational strategy by capturing right set of information in scenarios. Second is maintaining the right level of traceability so that the impact area or regression area can be identified properly. And third is detailing the strategy which is captured in scenarios through appropriate test design and by maintaining right set of test data such that we can execute the set of test cases against the specific data sets, and even we can automate those test cases by using the tool. For effective execution of non-functional testing, we suggest that we should provide a dedicated attention to this testing phase. By building a master test strategy, it provides us a complete view of which requirements are getting tested across which testing cycles. Again, on our screen, we see a sample master test strategy table. Here we see that in cycle 1, report elements are being tested for functionality. In next cycle, the same report elements we are using to create the basic reports, and they are being tested for non-functional testing, which is of type performance test, and again with the constant user load. After that, report elements are getting tested for different type of languages, multilingual reports across even browsers. We are testing the reports, and then once these type of tests are complete, we are testing the customized reports which are made up of different type of languages, different reporting elements against a particular user load pattern. This user load pattern is observed in a real life scenario. So if we see journey of testing reports from cycle 1 to end, we see that sequentially we are increasing the complexity of the tests, and then we are verifying a specific area in each cycle. While we are working on the processes, it is necessary to measure our progress. Unless we measure, we cannot improve. We suggest identifying goal-based metrics such that the testing goals are developed in sync with business needs and are monitored periodically. Again, on our screen, we see three sample categories of goals which are associated with productivity, product quality, and effectiveness. There are other characteristics against which we can identify specific metrics, and these metrics can then be part of our periodic reporting, which enables us to track the progress of project against the business goals. So We have seen how to arrive at the test strategy and how to translate the business essence in testing. Using appropriate processes, techniques, and templates, we can incorporate the strategy on projects. A continuous assessment is necessary to measure the current stage and also to identify improvement areas. It is necessary to consider the business essence while building the overall testing approach for the project, and this has impact on all testing areas. Now it is time for questions. Please let me know if you would like to know more about various points discussed today or any other question related to today's topic. Also, if you gather questions after this webinar, please drop it on our email address and we will get back to you with the answer. So over to the audience for questions.
Thanks, Umesh. I really enjoyed the presentation. We have one question from Chris, and he would like to know, for any business, schedule and cost are important. So how do you manage these two parameters in business-driven testing?
Hey, thanks, Chris. Good question. I understand why we are talking about schedule and cost. Typically, in case of domains like retail, we see the scenario of having frequent releases, and one of the reason to have this is changes in government rules and regulations. To identify exact impact for frequent releases and then to plan our testing accordingly, we need to implement the risk-based testing approach in our project, and also we need to focus on automating the business critical end-to-end flows. Now for both these activities, we need to provide appropriate focus right in the beginning, that is right from the test scenario development level. I hope I have answered this question. Is there any other question?
Yes, Umesh. There is a question from Nitin, and he would like to know how's performance testing is different in business-driven testing.
Well, thanks, Nitin. In case of performance testing in business-driven testing approach, we need to concentrate on domain-specific scenarios, and we should check the priorities of such scenarios, and we should focus on scenarios that ultimately affect the end customer. So for example, in case of retail domain, the response of POS needs to be given the higher priority. And all such type of scenarios where we have given higher priority should be incorporated as a part of our regressions check. So in every regression cycle, those scenarios should undergo performance testing. Also, based on the business context, the nature of user load in case of retail domain during a particular duration, say Thanksgiving week, it can be derived based on the response that we get to these type of tests. Hence, while building even the reports from this test, we need to identify who are the stakeholders for the reports, and accordingly we should design the reports, because reports from such tests will be useful to identify at what point in time I should add the additional infrastructure to the existing set of servers that I have, so that I can take care of the momentary increase in the user load. And this is applicable to the example that we saw. So I hope I have answered the question. Any other question, Amita?
Yes, there is a question from Sadhu, and he wants to know, do you have any presence in USA? Do you have any clients in USA in the area of testing?
Hi Sadhu, we have a presence in USA, and we have customers over there. It would be appropriate that we will get in touch with you after this webinar and discuss more points associated with this.
Thanks, Umesh. There's one more question from David, and he would like to know which aspect would decide test complete criteria.
Thanks, David. Again, wonderful question. In fact, identifying the completion criteria is one of the key aspects of business-driven testing. In case of business-driven test approach, the completion criteria will be totally defined by business priority and business importance. We will have to consider a set of parameters like what is the percentage of pass cases versus percentage of failed and percentage of on hold cases, what type of defects are open and their distribution as per the severity. Then what is the completion of non-functional test cases, nature of the open issues, specifically in case of performance test and other compliance and regulatory needs that are affecting our business. And based on the holistic view of all these parameters which have importance in context of the project, we need to take a call on whether it is right time to say that testing phase is over and then product can be pushed to the next phase. I hope I have answered this question. Thanks. Any other question, Amita?
Yes, thank you, Umesh. There is one more question from Sadhu, and he would like to know how business-driven testing is different from UAT.
Hey, thanks. Well, UAT is a sign-off stage in overall software development life cycle, and business-driven testing is an approach which tells us how should we do testing across various stages of the life cycle. I hope I have answered this. Any other question, Amita?
Umesh, we don't have any question now. Thank you for all that information, and thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any question, please send it on raf.marketing@northgate-is.com. Additionally, you can check our company profile on www.rave-tech.com. You can also join us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I really hope everyone enjoyed this presentation. Thanks again for joining us. We hope to see you very soon. Thank you.